Hi, my name is Jeremy Wright, and I would like to present a basic formula for game design. I've been making two-dimensional computer games for almost 2 years now, and I've learned a lot about how it's done. The idea is that when you're finished watching this presentation, the only thing left for you to do will be learn a programming language. Here are the 7 basic building blocks for every Angry Bird, Call of Duty, and Super Mario. The aspects of game design. Genre. The first thing a good game maker will do is choose a genre. In gaming, a few popular genres include first-person shooters, role-playing games, also known as RPGs, platform games, simulation games, strategy, and the ever-growing music games. Choosing a genre first is helpful to give your game the design and focus that it needs. Scope. Now that you have a genre, it's important to decide on the scope of your game. The scope of a game is measured in features, menu screens, statistics, characters, levels, all of this that you have. The best idea is to start with a small game with a very limited number of features. This will ensure you don't become overwhelmed and scrap the design altogether. This is a common problem for new designers. Themes. Unfortunately, I don't mean theme music. The theme of a game is like the setting in a book. Is the game on the moon, or under the sea, or in the middle of World War III? It is important to stick with your theme so you don't get a confusing final product. Mario fighting zombies on the moon and in the ocean? That's just strange. Here's where we get into the more complex part of game development. Mechanics. The mechanics of a game are the rules that define the game. For example, in a strategy game, the mechanics are limitations like how many soldiers you can produce or how much ore your harvester can hold at once. In an RPG, the mechanics could be how much gold do you need to collect in order to trade with someone, or how do you get from one city to another. In this case, our little plumber can only hold a certain number of mushrooms while he goes along his adventures. Dynamics. Game dynamics are the way the game behaves. In a first-person shooter, some dynamics might be trying to find some goal at the end of an army base, or exploring a jungle. Or, in an RPG, you might complete tasks to gain reputation. In a simulation, you might race your opponent to build the largest castle. The dynamics of a game are important because they are the reason you want to keep playing. The reward for your time. In this case, Mario is trying to defeat his enemies, to open the chests, and ultimately save his dear Princess Peach. Aesthetics. Aesthetics are the emotional responses the game tries to evoke through the game dynamics. The feeling of accomplishment when you finally build your castle, or the excitement of finally finding the treasure chest at the end of the cave, or conquering your enemies on the last level. This could be the disappointment of letting Mario escape, or the glee of being a boo, or the happiness of watching a shy guy slip. So, now that you've got your idea for the best new platform game around, how do you put it together? First of all, make sure you're designing your game for the user. Always keep in mind the people who are playing your game. Think carefully about the goals you set, and also the goals your users will set for themselves. For example, if you're making a game with 4,756 levels, the user won't be able to set any reasonable goals, and inevitably, they won't want to keep playing. Split those levels into worlds or parts. Reward your user for completing the first 5 levels, or for finishing the first city. Make sure that you consider every feature you make, and ask yourself, will the user find this fun too? A good way to do this is to have bosses at the end of each level, like these little guys. Now for my favorite part of game design, features. Break down your game into various features: objects, characters, enemies, heroes. Each feature must be designed, developed, and tested, so keep them simple, without ruining the game dynamics. Don't forget to include user interaction. Users want to feel like they're a part of the game, but not at the expense of ease of play. As humans, we only have so many digits. Don't make a game where every emotion is a different button. It gets way too complicated, and it feels like a chore to play. Then you have to code your game. This is the hard part. I personally enjoy using a language called Python, but like all languages, it takes time to learn, And unlike a human language, it can't just point at what you want from a computer. To get started, go to www.python.org. From there, you can follow the downloads link and install the version that is appropriate for your computer, whether you have a Windows or a Mac, or even Linux. Once it's installed, you can choose a beginner's tutorial from the tutorials link, or from various websites online. The best way to learn a programming language is to have a goal to work towards. In this case, you can try making your brilliant game idea. Before we finish, let's summarize the 7 basic aspects of game design. 1. Genre. Choose your type of game. 2. Scope. How big will your game be? 3. Theme. Choose the setting for your game. 4. Mechanics. What are the game's rules? 5. Dynamics. How will the game behave? 6. Aesthetics. How will the game make users feel? And 7. Features. Design your levels and characters, objects, and everything in the game. Now that we have designed and coded our game, it's time to test it out. So have fun and game safe.